for or you've trained people at Fortune 100, not 500, y'all. She's trained people at Fortune 100. So if somebody wanted to do what you do and get contracted out, how would they do it? Would it be like a lot of networking events? Would it be just building up their business and advertising themselves?
So specific to my industry or just in general?
Just in general.
Yeah.
So
and
when you ask for stuff, it just comes. Yeah.
I'm a big believer in like, trust me that the job will get done. Don't count how many hours my butt's in a seat. That will turn me off quick.
What's up, guys? This is Brianna Moore, your host of the Conversations Unearthed podcast. Today, we have a very, very, very special guest. We have Miss KC Long. She is a leadership and team development coach, a consultant, and a leader. Credentials are CPCC and PCC. We go ask her what all of this stuff means, okay? But guess what? We connected off of straight energy, y'all. She had a bit of a seminar / conference type situation that was hosted by Chamber RVA. And you guys don't know, but I am on a bit of a spiritual journey right now. I went into this conference or seminar thinking that it was going to be based on business, thinking we were going to be talking about, I don't know, cost of goods sold or so, some type of ways to make money. But it was a very like fulfilling type of event that everybody got something away from. We were able to be led on a bit of a therapeutic journey by Miss Casey, who does this type of work. And we were able to literally be listened to intentionally for 3 minutes by a partner about things that we were proud of, things that we were sad about, things that we wished would happen. And we formed really strong bonds and connections with strangers over this activity that Miss Casey led, which is not something that you do often. So introducing y'all, Miss KC Long. We could put some claps right here. Woo! How you doing today? What you got going on? How are you? Thank you so much for coming. I got to give you your flowers because it's not often that you just pull up on somebody and say, "Hey, can you be on my podcast?" And they're like, "Wait a minute, sure, I think." Because you don't know me from a can of paint, a can of paint, and you were just like, our energy, I felt like, just kind of rubbed off on each other. You were just so nice and so passionate about what you were doing, and it definitely took us all on a journey. I'm just so happy that you're here. So anyways, how you doing? How you feeling?
I am good. I just feel blessed to be here with you this afternoon. Like you said, when I met you, I loved your energy. I think how I'd sum it up is you're just very authentic, and I love that, and it makes it easy to be around you. And so why would I not want to come hang out with somebody and have some meaningful conversation? That's just cool.
Thanks
for
you.
being cool.
Thank you so much. Hey, listen, this is what we do here at Conversations Unearthed. Like I was telling you before, it's a financial based podcast, but usually we get really deep into some things, but sometimes it is not intentional. But however, I knew that this episode would be something that is definitely going to change somebody's mindset, somebody's perspective about their approach to emotional intelligence, organization within themselves, and just, it may be a bit of therapy for somebody. So maybe. I just want you to kind of introduce yourself. Tell us what you do with your business. I believe it's called Fulfilled.
That's right.
And I just want people to know like what you do, why you started it, how you started it, and what do you do in this business?
Sure. I'll give you just a quick background of how I got to where I am today. So went to college, Mary Baldwin University, represent.
Hey, shout out to Mary Baldwin.
And graduated with a focus in entrepreneurship and a minor in education. Really didn't know what the heck I was going to do with that. I wanted to open a tiki bar in Key West. That was the moment, but that wasn't happening. So I was waiting tables, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. My parents said, "You need to get a job. You need to get off our payroll." And so one day in the restaurants, there was a woman with a laptop. I asked her what she was doing. She said she sold groceries to the restaurants. So next thing you know, my first gig out of school, Cisco Food Services, I sold groceries to
nice.
hotels and restaurants. flashback strip clubs. I had those strip clubs right around here because I was only girls, so they sent me in there.
Strip clubs like gentlemen
pure
clubs,
pleasure, all that. I would sit in the lap dance room and place orders for chicken wings and stirrers and ranch. That's how it started.
I love it.
Yep. And I did that for many years, and I loved it. It was commission-based. I made great money. I learned how to sell. But at the end of the day, I just didn't feel like that was where I was destined to be. So started networking, talking to different people, realized I really wanted to make more impact. So I went into the financial services industry, so I can talk to financial services.
Okay.
And I went into a company, Northwestern Mutual, as their head of learning and development. Did that for many years, and that's where I started coaching. So new financial advisors, I was coaching them on how to grow their business. And then that led me down a journey into coaching and especially working with leaders. I find we're all leaders, but leaders within organizations really shape whether it's successful or not. So worked with organizations around coaching leaders, and then that led me to Capital One. So I spent 7 years coaching leaders at Capital One. And about a year and a half ago, I made the big, bold move. Always had the entrepreneurial itch like you.
That bug.
That bug, it doesn't go away. My dad was an entrepreneur. I knew I was destined for it. So here we are a year and a half in to owning my own coaching and consulting practice. So I work with individuals and teams and helping them get clear on who they are and who they want to be. And then I help them get there.
That's super cool. So let's start with some rapid fire yes or no questions. Let's get it done. And I did not give her these questions beforehand, so it's off the dome, guys. Do you believe that leadership can be taught?
Yes.
Is emotional intelligence more important than technical skills or effective leadership?
Absolutely.
Can a leader be effective without formal training?
Maybe.
Okay. Do you think leaders should be transparent about their mistakes?
Absolutely.
Is it possible to develop leadership skills without experiencing failure?
No.
Okay. Can introverted individuals be successful leaders?
Absolutely.
And is building trust the most critical aspect of team development?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to break the ice a little bit because
I love that. So thoughtful.
I want to know, like, I'm just so interested in leadership consultants, or you are a person who trains leaders. So the leaders come to you, like, which I think that, like, it's important to be a leader. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that in order to be a good leader, I think you have to be a good follower as well, especially in business. Not a follower as in, like, you know, jumping off of a cliff if everyone else does, but like if somebody has a better idea than you about something involving your business, I think that is important for people to know, because I feel like people get in these big positions and they kind of like feel like they're the only ones that can make these decisions. So
but no, a big skill with leadership is listening.
Okay, cool. So you said your dad was an entrepreneur. What did your dad do?
Everything.
Shout out to Dad, Renaissance man.
Yeah, love you, Dad. He's still working hard. He like calls me every day. He's like, "How do I convert this PDF to a?" I'm like, "Dad, it's time to turn it off. It's time to shut it down." But he refuses. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's on all kinds of interesting things, but his most successful venture was gas and oil wells. So he finds people to invest in drilling gas and oil wells, and then what's pretty cool from that is if you hit a Thrivent well, you get residual payouts like every single month from the oil that you use.
Oh, he's big time.
Yeah, so he did that, but I will tell you, it sounds all snazzy and all that. But what I learned through that, like, grew up very privileged, had a very nice upbringing, but it looked pretty on the outside. On the inside, there were a lot of highs and a lot of lows. Like I always tell people, there would be like a holiday where I would get like a trip to the Bahamas in my stocking or something, and then the next holiday I get like a very used bike off of like Craigslist. So I grew up in the heart of the entrepreneurial roller coaster.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting, because for one, this is good for me because I don't know a lot of people who grew up privileged. I'm just put that out there. I know a lot of people who grew up in the hood, so I don't know if you're familiar with the term hood rich. Okay, so you go to school or you go to work and you got on a nice clothes and a nice shoes and a nice bag, but you might be living in the project. So it's like, it's just it's interesting to me that you said that entrepreneurship affected you as well as a kid, because it would go up and it would go down. You have your valleys and you have your hills, and that's interesting. So how, like, did you know that he was an entrepreneur? Did you know that some Christmases would be better than others, or like what?
I knew when I was in like third grade, and you'd have to fill out those forms like mom occupation, dad occupation, dad occupation. I had to learn how to spell entrepreneur, which is like a really big word, because I'd always be like, Dad, what do you do? And he's like, I'm an entrepreneur. So I learned what that was early on, and my mom stayed at home.
Okay.
But I didn't understand like really what it was, but I was probably like 8 or 10 at like conventions. Like, he sold coolers, like kind of like Yeti coolers before that was Yeti, soft-sided coolers. I'm like selling those at conventions. I'm like selling fish hooks, selling bicycle tires. He did all kinds of crazy stuff.
So mom was stay-at-home mom. So he was making enough money to take care of the family. Did you have any sisters, brothers?
I'm a bonus. My sisters are 9 and 12 years older than me. But yeah.
Oh, you're the baby.
I'm the baby. I'm the bonus. I'm the surprise.
Oh, okay. I love that.
Surprise.
Okay, so I wonder, like, how's the relationship with your siblings, being that you're so like it's kind of like you got 3 moms at this point, because your other siblings are so much older.
I would say it's 3 role models that I can look up to and like learn. Like, you can kind of take a little bit of each of them and be like, oh, like that, like that, and apply. And oh no, I don't want to do that. So a lot of people to learn from, which is helpful. Okay,
cool. So now I kind of want to get into what we did at your event.
Yes,
because it was very on time for me. One of the activities that you led us to do is to pick a partner, which I didn't know none of these people in this organization at this event. They didn't know me. And Casey literally asked us to dump our problems on our partners that we just met. And the intentionality behind it was that while you were talking to your partner, they could not talk back. And once you were done talking, they had to tell you what they felt like you said in their own words. Now, listening back to what people said about me, or what I said and what people heard that I said about me, was really cool for me, because I have anxiety about speaking to people. I'm kind of introverted, and like I get really self-conscious when I have to explain myself or talk about things. But it solidified for me the fact that maybe I do make sense when I'm talking, because the people, what I said or what I felt like was jumbled, and what I said to these people, they repeated back to me in such a profound way. I was like, oh wow, they understood exactly what I was saying. And the emotions that you get from somebody not only hearing you but understanding, and then pretty much saying it back to you in their own words, it is, I don't know, it's a different type of hug. It's a different type of love language that I felt like I had. How did you get in, like, did you get into this work by somebody teaching you these things? Like, are these activities don't seem like normalized, like they seem like something that is very niche. So I guess I'm wondering, like, how you got into this work and the impact that you give others. Like, are you impacted by that as well each time you do these things? I was like, just kind of explain to me about that. How did you get into this work?
Oh, this is my jam. Okay, so consulting. Yeah, I'm a coach and a consultant. Consultant, teacher, I would be telling you all the things that you need to do to accomplish whatever goal you're trying to accomplish, or do whatever you want to do. Maybe you have a mentor that tells you, a consultant that you hire that tells you. My sweet spot is I'm a coach. And so what y'all were learning at that night are some of the basic foundational concepts of being a coach. And what a coach is they're grounded in listening and asking questions, all in the spirit of helping you gain more awareness of who you are, what's important to you, who you want to become. And that is my sweet spot. I coach a ton of leaders. I coach a ton of people that just want to be better, want to reach their goals. And I coach a lot of teams, where I look at a team and I listen to the team and I share back what I'm hearing. And so coaching at the foundation of it is listening and asking questions and just what I call self-managing, not judging someone, not doing what we naturally do, which is trying to respond to connect with them by saying, oh, me too, or trying to solve their problems. So what y'all were doing that night was just simply learning a little bit about coaching. Those letters behind my name, that's what that is. So I'm a certified professional coactive coach. And then I'm a certified professional certified coach through International Coaching Federation. And so a big part of what I do is coaching. That's my favorite thing to do. I think it's the best way to help someone transform their mindset, transform and reach their goals. And then I also teach coaching at Georgetown University. So I'm on faculty there, and in their transformational leadership program, one of the skills is coaching. And that's because we live in a totally disrupted world where we can't tell people the answer because we don't know. So coaching is a way to help people come to their own answer.
Man, I love it. And I'm looking too at a bit of your background. I see that you are certified to administer and provide feedback for all of these different assessments. We got the Harrison assessment, the culture index, the personalysis, the leadership practices inventory, all of these things just to figure out how people, I guess, learn, how people coach, how people train. What made you get these licenses? I know you said, I know you work for, or you've trained people at Fortune 100, not 500, y'all. She's trained people at Fortune 100 companies. How do these people even find you? Like, where are you advertising yourself, or is it word of mouth? Where are they finding you at?
So fortunately, I've worked in some of these bigger organizations. So in going out on my own, I've been able to go back to them, and they like to bring me in because I understand the context of the organizations. And then honestly, so much of building my business has been networking. So okay. I was telling you earlier, I'm a big people person. I love to connect with people. And so I just really just meet with as many people as I possibly can. And I've realized people are possibilities. I meet with people. I do that magic thing called listening that most people think they might be good at, but aren't, but really listen. And that tends to lead to opportunities.
And then you have over 16 years of experience working with a variety of individuals and organizations. So you have this networking thing down packed. Well, I mean, you may not feel like it, but you got this networking thing down packed, and this is something that I'm working on for myself as well. Me going to that event was completely out of my comfort zone. Like, me being around people, I'm introverted. My mom is introverted, and we don't go outside. So it sounds like a lot of your opportunities have come from the networking and word of mouth. I guess I'm wondering too, how do you monetize something like being a coach? Like, I have a person who has offered to coach me, and he came in and he was great, and offered a ton of advice. And then he's like, well, I'm very expensive. So if you want to sit down more, I don't mind, because I believe in your vision. But it's like, I guess I'm wondering, how do you quantify that? Because he told me, he's like, well, I take companies from this many millions, 2 millions to 10 millions. And I'm like, well, it sounds like I need to get on your train. But as far as for you, how do you quantify the type of work that you do? Because I don't know if you are in the business of taking people from this amount of money to that amount of money, or if it's more of from being a follower to a leader, or understanding themselves better, or how do you do that?
So it always starts with just a discovery, what I call a discovery call, discovery conversation of connecting with someone, hearing who they are, what's important to them, what it is that they're trying to accomplish. Most of my clients are people that have really big, bodacious goals, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to accomplish it. So I sit down with them, I meet with them, and the question I always ask is, So if you and I were to work together for 6 months, what would need to be true at the end of the 6 months for you to say, damn, that's the best money I've ever spent? And that's where we get to what they really want. So it might be, I want to have more confidence when I'm talking to other people, or I want to take my business from 200,000 to 500,000, or whatever that might be. We get clear on what their objectives are. And then if I feel like through coaching that is possible, then I put together a package for them. And I usually coach my clients on a 6-month basis. We meet every 2 weeks. That's about 12 sessions. They're 1-hour coaching sessions over a 6-month period of time. But I always offer at that 3-month mark that if they're not finding value or they don't feel like they're making the progress towards their goal, that we can stop it then. But I rarely have clients do that. And then I'm super flexible, I think probably because I'm starting out, but some people just pay me up front, or some people pay me session by session. That's part of how I monetize my business. I also do, for organizations, I do a lot of team coaching. So these big companies will hire me to come in and work with their teams on a monthly or quarterly basis, and they pay well for that. I do a lot of workshops where I get paid for that. And then I'm doing more spot coaching. So that's where organizations might pay me a certain amount per month, and then they get 10 coaching sessions in that month that they can give to anybody in their organization that they think needs coaching, whether it's they're feeling stuck and they need help getting to their goal, or they just are really high potential and they want to prepare them for the next role.
That's cool. And then you are a mom, you have 2 kids, and you have a husband. How is that with because it seems like as a leadership coach, it seems like you may have not all of the answers, but you have a good bulk of the answers, like knowing how to sift through certain situations. I don't know how you feel about the whole gentle parenting thing. Like, how does your role in leadership as a coach play out in your family life?
It's so funny. My 13-year-old daughter's always like, Mom, don't do that coachy stuff on me. I think my son might be a future coach. He's my coach. Like, I'll share with him in bedtime. I'm like, I'm nervous. I don't know where the next paycheck's coming from or something. He's like, he'll like ask me a powerful question, or he'll like be like, Mom, you've got this. I saw what you did. I know it. So, but my daughter's like, leave me alone. My husband, I have trained over the years to just listen to me and not try to solve all my problems. He's gotten much better at that. But everything I do is in the spirit of being a model to my children. Like when I had kids, that was my game changer. That was the moment I said, like, if I'm going to keep working, I'm going to be doing what I'm passionate about. I'm going to be doing what's aligned to my strengths, and I'm going to follow my heart so that my kids do that one day too. So. And
is your husband an entrepreneur as well?
No. I married opposite my dad. So my husband is very risk adverse. Okay. He has a very solid career. And really enjoys what he does, works for a great organization. So he is not an entrepreneur, no, but he is my sounding board, and he does give really good, we're so yin and yang, like he gives really good advice.
Well, I'm dating now. Breaking news alert for anybody listening.
Yeah.
And the person who I'm dating is kind of an entrepreneur, but she said on multiple occasions that she will keep her day job because one of us has to have health insurance.
Yes.
So I thought that was
a big thing for me. That was a really big thing for me.
Really? Okay. So that was a conversation that y'all had.
So one of the hardest parts of me going out on my own was getting my husband on board. He was, remember, he's not risk adverse. So,
yes, ma'am.
So this was very uncomfortable for him. And so, yes, one of the greatest benefits was being able to go on his company's benefits. Nice. I know a lot of people that would love to jump out of their corporate or, 9-to-5 gig, but insurance is holding them back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's been good. And then I just have to constantly be, like, sharing with him updates so he feels secure with this new way of living that we're in.
Yeah. I love that. And that's a conversation that I'm not used to having with people. Obviously, like, my listeners know I am a nurse, and like when I decided to go out on my own and I said, all right, guys, I think I'm going to not work as much. I'm going to go PRN, which PRN, the requirement is like, I think 2 shifts every 3 months, which is a big pay cut for, and they're like, the first thing that they said, they're like, well, what are you going to do about health insurance? And I'm like, that's the biggest thing that y'all worried about? Like, I'm like, I couldn't literally sit here with my mind and create a plan to make, I don't know, however much money I want per month. And y'all, the biggest thing y'all worried about is health insurance. Like, let me just jump off the boat. But now that I don't have any, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm real careful. I got to be more careful.
You got to like wrap yourself in bubble wrap.
Right. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. It's kind of nerve wracking. But it seems like when you do have backup or a partner or like a husband who can help with that, it seems to make the transition a little bit easier.
Yes, that was very, very important. But there's a lot of people out there that do it. I don't know how they do it.
So but were you married before you became an entrepreneur?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was a really big conversation.
Yeah.
And then I was fortunate so I've known in my blood all along that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And the last couple years in corporate America, I was your poster child for burnout. Like I was done. And so I hired a coach. And so I had a coach, and our coaching was all around developing my 2 weeks notice. And so it was all the things I'd need to do and have in order to be able to give my 2 weeks notice. And we did that for a year, worked on that. And then I had about a year to let it all play out before I left. But a big piece of that was my health insurance. A big piece of that was I created a freedom fund. So I knew that I wanted to be out on my own. I knew that I was making a really good income. And so I simplified my living and was shoving money away in savings, all in the spirit of knowing it would serve me later, which it has.
Yeah.
And then I was able to pretty much straight up ask my boss for a severance when I left. I said, I think that you guys could do this work without me. And I really just don't think this is where I want to be anymore. And I think the person that reports to me is fully capable. And so they eliminated my role and I got a severance. So I've been very fortunate in spreading that out, having my freedom fund, having my husband's insurance, and just really simplifying my life. My kids are old enough. They're 11, almost 12 and 14. That I told them, I said, hey, like if you want your random Starbucks trips and things, you can babysit and you can mow lawns.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm creating future entrepreneurs too.
Whew, you said a lot. Okay. Wait a minute.
Sorry, that's...
Wait a minute. No, all of this is chef's kiss because you told your boss to eliminate your role.
Yeah.
And they paid you.
Well, I saw the writing on the wall.
Okay,
so
I got you.
I knew, which it's still happening, that a lot of companies were starting to cut, lay people off. And I was miserable. I was burned out. And we had this talent conversation where they talk about your future in the organization. And I was very direct. And I just said, I don't see where I'm going here. I don't think the next opportunity would be aligned to my strengths. Yeah. Gotcha. I asked for it. It was like a God moment. Like I hadn't gone in preparing for that. It just, have you ever said something you didn't even like, it came from somewhere else?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On this podcast all the time. Sometimes I don't listen to my interviews because I don't feel like it's me talking. I don't like, yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a intervention.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And I was reading some book today and they said like once you start to actually go out on faith and, I guess start to fulfill your vision, God will provide a provision.
Oh, we've gotten into my heart of hearts spot
I know.
now. So people keep asking me, they're like, oh my gosh, it's been a year since you left corporate and blah, 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 blah. What is your greatest lesson learned? And hands down 100%, God provides. God provides. I think especially if you're aligned to His will and your purpose and your passion and your strengths, like gives me chills. God provides.
I don't know how else to explain to people that I'm okay. Because if you were to look at what I got going on, I'm good. I have a savings account and I have my rental property, so that gives me some income, and I have the lab, so that gives me some income. But people have told me like, bro, you don't have no job. Like, how are you getting money? Like, where is the liquidity? And I'm just like, I've been okay for like 8 weeks at this point. And I got like, I was just in the car one day, and me and God, we homies. And just so people know, me and you didn't talk about God or anything before this.
No.
But we homies. So God was like, girl, just tell me what you want. And I was like, okay, God, I want to make money without having to work for it. And I heard God laugh in my face. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm tripping. I shouldn't have said it. Okay, just ignore that. And I go home. It's a check for like $1,800. And I'm like, all right, now, okay. I see. But yes, God provides. What do you feel? When do you feel most connected to your true self?
Well, every morning I have my quiet time, and I journal 3 pages of my thoughts. And that's one of my favorite times of the day because I'm just having a conversation with myself. I'm just holding space for me. And so that's definitely it. And then I'd say traveling. I love to like see new places, do new things, especially with my family, especially nature, like just being in beautiful nature places with my family and journaling. Those are my jam.
And in your corporate world, do you feel like you were making a difference? Do you feel like you had a sense of purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. That was the hardest part for me. Like when I was at Capital One, I was living into my purpose. I'd figured out my purpose when I had kids, and I was like 5 or 6 years into that, living my purpose, heading up leadership development, doing lots of coaching, and then COVID, and then I got put in charge of a massive racial equity program, and then I burned out. I totally burned out, and I was like, what's wrong? I'm living to my purpose, and I had to go back and revisit it, and I guess it was my time to go on my own.
Oh, wow. Was the racial equity program during COVID, like when all of the DEI?
Yeah. So right after George Floyd's passing, Rich Fairbank, who's the CEO of Capital One, put out like 8 huge mandates around racial equity. One of them was that all 800 of the executives at Capital One would go through an extensive program to help them gain deeper understanding and deeper empathy for the impacts of racial inequity. And yours truly was put in charge of that on top of my day job. Yeah. On top of my day job. My proudest project, because 2 things. One, I learned so much from it. Like I said, I grew up in like white flight, Richmond, like blind.
Wait, white, what? White flight? What is that? I never heard of that.
Suburbs. Like,
the suburb.
People,
Okay.
Like, run away from the city because they want it.
I got you.
Maybe I made that up. I don't know. And then, second, in being in learning and development for the past 15, 20 years, I've always believed that you've got to start at the top. Like, if you're going to teach something in your organization, the leaders have to model it first. Because I don't want to go teach a bunch of managers and then they go back to their day job and their managers aren't modeling the way. That's a waste of time. So this started like the CEO, all the executives went through this program, and then it trickled down through the entire organization. So super powerful, but burned, like between COVID and that and my day job and being a mom, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, that's a lot. Did you feel like your classes helped? Do you think the people like grasped what you were saying?
Yeah, I was not the teacher. Let me get that clear. I was not the teacher of this. I was the person that found the appropriate people to teach it and to facilitate it, and then put all the groups together to go through it and made sure that they stuck to the objectives. I know it transformed me. Yeah. And so, and based on the measurement strategy that we had, I think it really impacted people. I think what was interesting was the objective was around like gaining more awareness of the impacts. We didn't talk so much about what you go do. And so people wanted more like, how do I change this? How do I fix this? What are the actual steps I take? But the first step to anything is awareness. And so they got that. And then I'm hopeful that they took that and have been more thoughtful in their actions going forward.
That's interesting because, you know, we hear all the time about those type of initiatives being acted upon and don't really get like a sense of what happens inside. So that was enlightening for you to share. Thank you so much.
It was powerful. One of my proudest projects.
Did they do anything about like Was there a program that infused money into communities? And I'm just asking.
I'm sure. I mean, they had like 8 huge initiatives.
I got you.
That I was so laser focused on.
Yeah.
What the other ones were, but there was a lot of movement there.
I got you. And I do want to get to your son, because you said that your son is one of the people in your life that you go to for advice. And I think that's so interesting, because one of the people who I go to for advice is my little 9-year-old goddaughter. Like, she's like the most interesting, funny. I always say, like, if there was another president of the United States, if she wanted to be it would be her, or brain surgeon, whichever one she wants to do. But kids just have this innate type of pure sense of emotional intelligence. What I think it's so interesting that you talked to him about the money. You were like, hey, son, we ain't got no money coming in. How you feel about this? And he is able to like actually give you support. Like, how do you feel about that? How do those conversations go? And where did he get that emotional intelligence from?
I think kids are the best truth tellers, right?
Yeah.
So like, I have a best practice. You were talking about all those assessments that I'm certified in. Those are all ways to help you gain more self-awareness, to understand if you're a driver, or if you're a relationship builder, or an influencer. A really simple way to do that is to go ask people like, hey, what are the words you'd use to describe me on my best day? What are the words you describe me on my worst? You'll get a real good look in the mirror. And I do that with people probably once a quarter, but with my kids, I do that once a month, and they get annoyed. But I go and I will be laying down for bed, and I'm like, they're prepared for it now. I'm like, all right, what's the 2 things mommy's doing really well right now? What are the 2 things she could be doing better? And they will straight up tell you.
Oh.
Okay. Sometimes I get like, you give us candy, or this one that like punched my heart is like, you spend too much time on your phone, you know, which I think we all have an issue with that right now. Or a lot of us do. So I go to my kids for a lot of insights. That's different. My husband always says he takes more of the old leadership style, which is like command and control, like go do this, go do that. And I'm a coach. I take the coach approach, which is the newer leadership style, which is, hey, what?
So you believe in gentle parenting?
Yeah, I haven't heard it as gentle parenting. I believe in like empowering my children through helping them leverage their strengths and operate in their own style. We're all unique. Like, I don't expect them to be exactly like me. Right. So but no, I can lay the hammer down too when the time comes.
Well, I don't have kids, but I see the Instagram stories and on TikTok, and kids it's like a parent will say, hey, don't touch the stove, it's hot, one time. And then the kid will go and touch it. Like, hey, I said don't touch the stove, it's hot. And then the kid will do it again. And it's like, hey, I said, you know, it escalates. So it seems like with that's just something that parents have to do anyway. Like, sometimes you got to kind of raise your voice a little bit. I'm asking for me though. When you get the kids, and I'm all for nannies. I don't know. I think if I have kids, I'm gonna need a nanny.
Oh, I wanted to raise my children.
Yeah.
And that was when I had children. I think I'm good at asking for what I want. I went to my boss and I said, this was long before like hybrid or anything. I said, I want to work in the office 3 days and be home too, because I want to spend more time 4 days a week with my kids than I am at work. And wildly, they agreed.
I just need to get you to come to me in my meetings, because it's everything that you say to these people. They're like, all right, cool. But that also shows what type of person you are, what type of employee you are. Like, or, you know, like, it seems like you do your job. They know you're going to do your job. Yeah, so when you ask for stuff, it just comes. Yeah.
I'm a big believer in like, trust me that the job will get done. Don't count how many hours my butt's in a seat. That will turn me off quick. But yeah, kids are incredible. Parenting is the hardest thing I've ever done. But I think we're doing all right.
It looks like it to me. Sounds like it. And then the name of your business is Fulfilled. That's a very like deep name because it's not a lot of people in the world that can say that they're fulfilled.
Yeah.
Or have ever felt fulfilled. What made you name the
God
business
gave
that
it
name?
to me. It just like came to me. I was like, yeah, it's my business name.
It just downloaded to you.
Mm-hmm.
One word, fulfilled. And then
it's so funny how often I'm coaching people now and they're like, I just feel fulfilled. Or I have a moment of fulfillment. I'm like, score. That's the name of my business.
Nice. What was the last moment that somebody said that to you? What happened with them? Really?
Yeah. I had my Georgetown folks who were working on becoming coaches, and at the very end, the guy said, I just have a really strong sense of fulfillment. And I was like, well, that's the name of my business.
And you are an entrepreneur, but you work with universities?
I work I'm contracted under Georgetown as a coach / instructor.
So if somebody wanted to do what you do and get contracted out, how would they do it? Would it be like a lot of networking events? Would it be just building up their business and advertising themselves?
So specific to my industry or just in general?
Just in general.
Here's what I've learned about that. Don't look at the people that are in a similar industry as you as competitors. Look at them as collaborators.
Yeah.
And so I think, my younger self would have looked at other leadership coaches, other, folks that do team coaching, leadership and development as competition. But no, like those are the people I network with.
Yeah.
And then oftentimes what we realize is we all have unique gifts, unique talents. And so they bring you into different opportunities. Like I got into Georgetown because one of my friends is a leadership coach, and she's the one that brought me on board to do it.
Wow. And you guys were friends before?
Yeah, we actually knew each other at Capital One.
Go ahead.
Yeah, she's fabulous too. She'd be a great person for your podcast.
Next up. Bring her on.
Yeah.
And then you said you were in the financial services industry. What did you do were you a financial advisor?
No. You're
like,
I
heck
coached financial advisors. That is a hard gig.
Yeah.
But no, that's where I first started coaching. I put on all the training and all the coaching for financial advisors. So they would onboard, they're 100% commission. We would teach them like the sales process, and then I would do accountability coaching with them. So they'd have to meet with me every morning for 15 minutes. And it was, how many phone calls did you make yesterday? How many people did you reach? How many appointments did you set? Out of the number of appointments you kept, how many referrals did you ask for? Like very hardcore accountability around business development. And I think there is when I really learned about like deeper human motivation, because you would see a lot of people not make it in that business.
I can speak to that. I tried.
Yeah.
And I did not make it.
But I bet you learned a crap ton from doing it.
I learned a lot. Yeah. I was a travel nurse when I tried to be. So I took the test to sell life insurance and stuff and annuities. I took that one. My coach or my mentor was here in Virginia. I was in Missouri. So we would do remote calls. But what I didn't know was that I thought when I went into it, I would just be like watching him on his calls. No, like you have to bring your own people in, and then they help you lead the call. And it just got to the point where it's hard for me to sell. And I have to face this because I have a friend too, and I'm doing events as well as my friend. And we're trying to advertise for them and put out flyers. And it just feels weird, like to ask people to like, come to your event. And even though we're not selling anything right now, it's like once we ask the first time, it's like cool. The first time is cool, but the second and third time, it feels like
pushy.
It feels pushy, yeah. And I think that was my thing too with the financial advising. And I was told before I even started that I think he said 70 or 80% of people don't really make it through the training. So I can see how you would be helpful in that situation.
I did that for a long time.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people not make it. But what I have seen, just like you, is people took what they learned from that and have gone on to do amazing things.
Yeah.
And then I have folks that I coach there they have like, if you survive that business and you thrive in that business, it will pay you back in so many ways. Like they have freedom, they have flexibility, and they're earning a lot of residual income. And it's fun to see those folks and them thriving.
Yeah, I wish I could do it because I'm on Instagram and Facebook all day long talking about money. just to empower my community. Because I feel like in my community, we don't know a lot about money. So that's why I wanted to become a financial advisor, but I was like, dang, I'm not really good at selling stuff.
Baloney, look at you. You got all these people coming in here to take their time to talk to you.
Yeah, this is fun. This is fun.
If you want to do it, let's talk. I'll help you get there.
Yes, ma'am. I will. All right, I got 2 more questions, and then I'm a wrap it up because I know you got things to do. Casey is a very busy person.
I'm gonna get home and my kids are gonna be like, "What's for dinner?"
What is for dinner tonight?
I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I told my husband I have a whiteboard where I like write out meals for the week, and for tonight I put FFS, which is FFYS, fend for yourself.
I love it. That's what I'm gonna do. Cause my mama made some. Anyway, sorry. My mama made some good turkey legs last night. Turkey wings. Shout out to Mary. You got a birthday coming up
Wednesday.
By the time this episode releases, your birthday will have been passed. Aww. But Casey is a Virgo, just like my mama. So we click instantly. And I just want to say, have a happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
How old you gonna be?
I had it wrong last night when my parents asked me. I think I'm gonna be 43.
43?
Yeah.
Girl, you look 25.
Hey, I'll take it.
I love it.
Thank you.
All right, 2 more questions. What barriers or challenges have you faced in pursuing fulfillment? I love the deep breath in.
Well, I want to be thoughtful with this. What barriers? Having to fail, right? So I thought when I was in big old corporate America, living my purpose, that I had hit it, right? And it all went away, and I burned out, and I was miserable. And that was a horrible time. I think 2 years I was burned out, could barely like get on Zoom calls, and was not the leader that I've always prided myself in being. But looking back at that is such a gift, right? So I'm a huge believer that our greatest trials and tribulations get turned into somebody else's playbook.
Ooh.
And so by having gone through that hardship, I feel like I can help people that are stuck, people that aren't I call them career disturbed, miserable in your job, not living the life that you said you wanted to live or that you strive for. So I went through that, and I'm thankful for it. What else? The world is a rough, they're like just, everything that's happening in our world. The other morning, hearing about the next school shooting, and here I am sending my kids off to school. Yeah. Or I've had really close people that I've lost to suicide. The world is hard. And so having to build up resilience and learn from that and use it as fuel instead of as a hindrance. I second that. I don't talk a lot about it, but I had a close family member who passed from suicide. So we connect on that as well. I feel like once you start to vibrate at a higher level, you start to attract people on that same frequency. And what you said is right. Like other people's challenges, mistakes, missteps turn into other people's playbooks, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast. Because, like I listen to podcasts all the time. It's not a lot of people around me who are doing what I'm doing as far as investing and like buying businesses and, like doing a podcast. It's not a lot of people that are doing these things. So where do you go like to find these people? You go to, I guess, social media. So that's what I know but so much, I worry that so much of that is like not.
You got to pick and choose.
Yeah, you got to pick and choose.
Yeah. And then this is my last question. I ask everybody this at the end of the podcast. I'm gonna give you a few minutes to think about it. You might already know, but what is your favorite quote? My favorite quote is by Dr. Seuss, and it is, "You have to be odd to be number one." You get it?
Yes. That's hilarious.
I love it.
But it also has really deep meaning.
Right?
And you're authentic, and that's what I love about you, which is you're a little odd. You're authentically you, and look at you, number one.
Thank you.
I'm going to go with the same one that I put in my high school yearbook back in 99.
99, 2000. You know that's when that song came out. The Juvenile song.
Unfortunately, I don't think I know who said it, so I apologize for that. But what is it? I don't know how much I actually. Yeah, it's Life is Mysterious. Don't take it too serious.
Ooh, bars. Casey's a rapper too. I love it. Hey,
Life is mysterious. Don't take it too serious.
I love it.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? Where can people? Are you on social media? I know you're on LinkedIn.
Yeah, my main platform is LinkedIn. So
Okay.
it's just a K and a C. Casey Long, Long. There I go again.
Hey.
And then my website is www.fulfilledcc.com. So those would be the two ways. I am always open for a conversation. I absolutely adore meeting people. So hope to hear from some folks.
Cool. And I am going to plug your website in the show notes. I'm on the website now, and it is very calming, very beautiful. And you have a link to schedule a discovery call. So they have everything here that they need.
And shout out to my 13-year-old daughter who took all my pictures.
Nuh-uh. Is this your living room?
These kids, yeah.
Dang, I like that.
These kids, man.
Will she use an iPhone?
Yeah.
Go
And
ahead.
she did my hair and makeup and picked out my outfit.
What? See, you ain't say all of that. You said you got her mowing the lawn and doing. You didn't say she was
They're so talented.
a media company mogul at this point. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. For everybody on live and TikTok, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to the show. And until next time, peace.
Thank you. That was so fun.
Yay!
You're so easy to talk to.
Thank you. I don't know what I be talking about most of the time. Most of the time, people are like, so, what are we going to talk about? And I'm like, vibes. We gonna go off of vibes.
That's a gift.
Thank y'all for watching. Peace.